They told him it wasn't country. They told him it would never work. They told him releasing it could destroy his career before it even started. And decades later, after proving every one of them wrong, Tim McGraw found himself facing a different kind of enemy. Not executives in suits, but his own body breaking down under him. One battle happened behind closed boardroom doors in Nashville. The other happened in hospital rooms, under surgical lights. Both nearly ended him. But what really happened when the industry tried to bury Indian Outlaw? And how close did Tim McGraw actually come to walking away from country music forever? Let's pull back the curtain. 1. The song they tried to kill. They didn't just dislike the song. They wanted it gone. In the early 1990s, Tim McGraw wasn't the stadium-filling icon we know today. He was just another young artist trying to survive in a Nashville machine that had very clear rules. Play it safe. Follow the formula. Don't stir controversy. His 1993 self-titled debut album had barely made a dent. No major hits. No real leverage. In the music business, that meant one thing: you didn't get to argue. Then he heard Indian Outlaw. Songwriters Tommy Barnes and Max D. Barnes played it for him live at the Hall of Fame Lounge in Nashville. It wasn't polished. It wasn't committee approved. But it had something raw. Something unpredictable. It had energy. McGraw didn't hesitate. He learned it immediately. To him, it wasn't a gimmick. It was attitude. It was swagger. It felt alive in a way many radio-tested tracks didn't. The label didn't see it that way. Executives flat out rejected it. They called it too controversial. Said it wasn't real country. Warned it would never survive radio. Some even told him it could permanently damage his credibility. And here's the part that stings: his own producer didn't like it either. Imagine being a young artist with zero power and hearing everyone above you say, "This is a mistake." Nashville in the early 90s wasn't exactly welcoming to risk. Radio was tightly controlled. Program directors had enormous influence. If the gatekeepers didn't approve, your song didn't exist. McGraw could feel the pressure building. Play along. Be grateful. Don't push. But something didn't sit right with him. Because outside the boardrooms, something very different was happening. And it would change everything. 2. The bars decided first. Before radio ever touched it, the honky-tonks made the call. McGraw started slipping Indian Outlaw into his live sets. Small clubs. Loud bars. Packed dance floors. The kind of places where crowds don't fake reactions. The response was immediate. People didn't just clap. They went wild. He wasn't playing it once a night. He was playing it 3, sometimes 4 times in a single show because crowds kept demanding it again. That's not hype. That's instinct. When a room full of strangers sing something back to you before it's even recorded properly, you know you're onto something. But here's the catch. Fan excitement doesn't automatically translate into label approval. He still didn't have the authority to override executives. When his debut album was finalized, the song was left off. Just like that. All that crowd energy. All that proof. Shelved. And that kind of rejection can do something dangerous to an artist. It can make you doubt your own judgment. Was the label right? Was he misreading the moment? Was he about to sabotage himself over pride? Most new artists would have folded right there. But McGraw didn't forget what he saw in those bars. He didn't forget the way the song hit. So when it came time to record his second album, Not a Moment Too Soon, he made a decision that could have ended him. He pushed back. Hard. And what happened next would define the rest of his career. 3. The gamble that could have ended everything. This wasn't a small disagreement anymore. This was defiance. By the time Tim McGraw began working on Not a Moment Too Soon in 1994, he understood exactly what he was risking. He still wasn't untouchable. He wasn't a guaranteed hitmaker. One wrong move and Nashville could quietly move on without him. And yet he insisted. Indian Outlaw had to be on the record. Executives didn't suddenly love the song. The resistance was still there. Concerns about controversy. Concerns about radio backlash. Concerns about image. But McGraw had seen something they hadn't. the reaction of real people in real rooms. This time, he wasn't asking. He was putting his foot down. And privately, he knew the stakes. He later admitted it felt like the song would either explode in a massive way, or completely derail his career. There was no middle ground. No safe landing. That kind of gamble can break a young artist. When the single finally dropped, Nashville held its breath. And then something unexpected happened. It caught fire. Radio stations that were supposed to ignore it started spinning it. Audiences called in requesting it. The buzz built fast. What executives had dismissed as risky suddenly felt electric. The song climbed into the top 10 on the country charts. It went platinum. And more importantly, it made people pay attention to Tim McGraw. But here's the key part. He didn't stop there. Because one controversial hit can brand you as a novelty act. A fluke. A one-time shock factor. So he followed it with Don't Take the Girl. And that changed everything. The emotional ballad showcased vulnerability, depth, storytelling. It silenced anyone who thought he was just riding a gimmick. The song became a massive hit and cemented him as a serious artist with range. Suddenly the same industry that tried to bury him was recalibrating. The rebel kid with the risky single? He was becoming a force. But even as the charts climbed, another storm was forming. Because not everyone saw Indian Outlaw as harmless fun. And this time, the criticism was loud. For the backlash no one could ignore. Success doesn't shield you from controversy. If anything, it magnifies it. As Indian Outlaw grew bigger, so did the criticism. Some listeners accused the song of leaning into stereotypes. Advocacy groups questioned its portrayal of Native American imagery. The debate wasn't subtle. For a rising star, this could have spiraled quickly. He could have dodged the conversation. Issued a generic statement. Let management handle it. He didn't. Instead, McGraw chose to meet directly with Native American leaders. Face to face. Not through headlines. Not through press releases. That decision mattered. He explained his intent, listened to concerns, and made something very clear. If the song could be used to help raise awareness or support Native causes, he was fully open to that. He wasn't defensive. He wasn't dismissive. And that's where the story gets more layered. Because years later, when he performs at Native American casinos, he still offers to remove the song from his set list out of respect. Almost every time, the venues tell him no. Not politely. Not hesitantly. They insist he keep it in. That nuance rarely makes headlines. But it adds dimension to the story. It shows that the narrative wasn't as black and white as critics wanted it to be. Country music has always wrestled with imagery, tradition, symbolism. Indian Outlaw became part of that larger conversation. But instead of running from it, McGraw stood in it. And he survived it. The suits didn't stop him. The backlash didn't stop him. But time was about to test him in a way no controversy ever could. Because decades of touring take a toll. And this fight couldn't be negotiated. 5. When the body starts breaking. This wasn't about charts anymore. This was survival. In the last few years, Tim McGraw has endured something most fans never fully saw. 4 back surgeries and double knee replacements. Not tweaks. Not minor procedures. Major operations. Recovery after recovery. Think about that for a second. This is a man whose career depends on standing under stage lights for hours. Moving. Performing. Traveling constantly. And suddenly his own body is fighting him. Pain changes everything. It affects your sleep. Your mood. Your patience. Your clarity. It makes even small tasks feel exhausting. Before his final back surgery, things had gotten bad. Really bad. He admitted he was quietly trying to figure out how to walk away from music. Not because he wanted to, but because he wasn't sure he could physically continue. That's a terrifying realization. For someone whose identity has been built around performance for over 3 decades, what does retirement even look like? What happens when the stage that built you becomes impossible to stand on? He didn't make a dramatic announcement. There were no headlines about final tours. But internally, the conversation was real. Could this be the end? And if it was, would he be okay with that? Most fans had no idea how close it came. But what happened after that final surgery changed the direction. 6. The moment he refused to fade. The last surgery worked. And that matters. Because when you're facing repeated operations, doubt creeps in. You start wondering if the next one will fix it, or make it worse. Recovery wasn't instant. It was slow, painful, humbling. But something shifted. Instead of focusing on what he couldn't do, McGraw started channeling the experience into music, into perspective, into reflection. That's where King Rodeo was born. The title alone says something. Rodeo riders don't stay on forever. They get bucked. They get hurt. They climb back up anyway. The song became more than just another track. It became a statement about aging, about grit, about refusing to disappear quietly. Country music doesn't always make space for older artists to reinvent themselves. It's a youth-driven industry now more than ever. But McGraw wasn't trying to compete with 25-year-olds. He was leaning into who he is now. Seasoned, tested, scarred, still standing. There's something powerful about watching an artist transition from rebellious upstart to reflective survivor. The same stubbornness that made him fight for Indian outlaw decades ago was still there, just aimed at a different enemy. Time. And once again, he didn't fold. The pattern of defiance. Look at the pattern. When executives tried to kill a song he believed in, he stood firm. When critics questioned him, he faced it directly. When his own body began breaking down, he pushed through surgery after surgery instead of quietly fading out. That's not luck. That's resilience. Tim McGraw's story isn't just about hit singles or platinum records. It's about instincts, risk, endurance. The industry tried to bury a song. Time tried to bury the man. Neither succeeded. And maybe that's the real takeaway. Because sometimes the biggest battles aren't the ones we see on stage, they're the ones fought behind closed doors and under surgical lights. Let me know what you think down.
Thank you, my viewer. I hope you keep it here on my channel for more discoveries on all the celebrities' untold journeys. Like, comment, and subscribe on Hajara Rama channel. Thank you so much.